Yo, 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 insert cringy YouTube intro here. What is up? This is your boy. 10th place of Cardfight Vanguard, Dragonic Overlord season here. I specifically haven't loaded up my phone for this reason up until now. I'm making this video a few days after the season has ended because I want to talk about my deck, and a lot of people have been asking me questions about it. Here, take a look. For those who give a shit. Tyrant of the Empire season results ranking. There I am, number 10, baby. And all of these dudes in top 10, I have contact with most of them. They're pretty nice guys. Especially number 2 Draconic guys. That Chalice guy. He was 3 away. I didn't even notice. But look how beautiful that is. 10th place. Not bad. 3 SP Overlords trophy next season. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be having gameplay on the screen while I talk about the deck on the right and mulligans that I usually do. So, for grade 1s, we've got 4 perfect guards. It's a given in any deck. 4 Marins. I prefer Marin as an 8k attacker because it's just a great all-around vanilla. You never want to ride Snuggles in a Garmore deck. If you have to, do it, but it's not ideal. Then we have a 1-of Wingull. I've bounced between Lien and Wingull, trying to figure out which I like better. But I think I probably would put it back to Lien as a filter. It's really good for filtering out dead cards like Galahad and Alfred Early. But I would rarely use it. And then 4 of Snuggle. It's a given. For grade 2s, we've got Blaster Blades, 4 of, obviously. 2 Akane. I would have this at 3 of if I had a third one. 4 Galatine, same thing as Marin. 1 Eagle of Knights. Now, I jumped between 4 Eagle of Knights, no Garmore, 3 with 1 Garmore, and 2 Garmore, and I tried all of that. I found that I do better with 2 Garmore and 1 Eagle. If I had a third Akane, I would replace the Eagle with Akane. But I do not have 3. And then the Eagle is 8k, 11k attacker. It is very good for making those columns that you might need against, say, Overlord, Tsukuyomi, etc. And then 2 grade 2 Garmores, you don't need more than 2. 2 is a good amount. What I do is, actually I'll get into it later, but riding, if you don't have a grade 3 to ride, just having your Vanguard as a grade 2 Garmore and having a full back row of Snuggle is very good. And as for grade 3s, 4 Gancelot, I had 3 up until recently, actually. If you don't have at least 3, I wouldn't recommend playing this deck, because one of the biggest problems with playing any deck is drawing into heals, and that's not good. But with Royal Paladin and Spike Brothers, you can put those back in the deck with like Juggernaut and fucking Gancelot. 2 Alfred Early. The only reason I have this is I only have 2 Garmore and only 3 Palamedes. So the reason I put Alfred Early is it's a backup card. Let's say you run, or if you ride Blaster Blade, and then you can get into Alfred Early. That's a free retire, pulled straight from the soul, a free Blaster Blade, which I will get into Counterblast later. Palamedes. Not much else is good to run for Royal grade 3s. And it would be 4 of if I had 4 of them. It's a 13k attacker with other grade 2s. It's a good finisher if your opponent doesn't have intercepts and you're going for game. We're going to skip Garmore for now. 2 Galahad. Now, this is an interesting card. The only reason I have 2 Galahad is I don't have 4 Garmore. And I don't have 4 early. I would place them probably not with early actually, but it's an 11k beat stake over overlords and Tsukuyomis and stuff like that on its own. And let's say your only other option to ride a grade 3 is a Gansalot, then it's obviously better to ride a Galahad 11k base. Funny story. One time I was fighting Dark Irregular or Pale Moon, whichever one of them has Robert, and I had to ride Galahad, and they put my entire field into the soul, which brought me to 6 soul. And thanks to Mr. Rank 2, Draconic Ice in the chat at the time, told me that I was able to use the Galahad Soul Blast, or not Soul Blast, Counterblast, for a crit, and that won me the game, which was pretty funny, actually. Now, that's never going to happen often, because that only happened once, and that's only going to happen one time. That happened once out of, like, 1,000 games. And for those asking, I won about 800 games. I played... So the way the season worked for me is I was going to play Perfect Razors, and I made a build. Like, I had the deck, I made a build, and I didn't like the build. So I tried Tsukuyomi. It was alright. Took too long. The games were too slow, in my opinion. So I moved to Royal Paladin, which I had 500 wins before the season started because I used it to VP farm like an idiot. So we have like 750, 850 wins with Garmore since then to get top 10, which, by the way, was like 150 hours over the span of 2 weeks. So that's like 14 to 16 hour days every day for 2 weeks straight, and I hated it. It was hell. But what else? So back to the deck. 2 Garmore. Obviously would be 4 of if I have it or had it, but I only have 2. So ideally the deck list would look like 4 PGs, 4 Marin, a Lien, 4 Snoggle. I could probably switch out the Lien. 4 Blaster Blade, 3 Akane, 2 Grade 2 Garmore, 4 Galatine, 4 Gansalot, 4 Garmore, 4 Palamedes, and 1 King of Knights Alfred. I don't have any of them, so I just don't run them. And for mulligans, I usually try to get either a Marin or a Wingull in the hand, and then a grade 2 Garmore and a grade 3 Garmore in the hand. If that's not remotely what my opening hand looks like, I try mulliganing to get a Blaster Blade and an Alfred early, because you never want to ride Palamedes, you never want to ride Gansalot unless the matchup calls for it. Only ride Galahad if it's like if you're on your ride phase and you have nothing else to ride, which is part of the problem with my deck, because since I only have 2 Garmore, I don't get to ride it all that often. Might be a person, hopefully. Maybe. Alright, so we don't want these. Don't need that. We're fighting Tsukuyomi, so we're gonna want to go to fast. Go fast. Yeah, okay. The way to beat Perfect Risers and Tsukuyomi is go fast as hell. So, only thing to ride, Marin, throw Bruel on the back, and pass it on to her. Now this is a really bad hand because my only grade 3 is a Galahad, but against Tsukuyomi that's not horrible, but it could be better. And then the PG doesn't really... Oh, she misses the Tsukuyomi ride chain. Okay. Well, that changes everything. Looks like she's gonna try to end it quick herself. But yeah, this This hand is less than ideal. Wow, look, the defensive, that always comes whenever I try to go for 2 damage. That's why you should try to build a column that can pass a defensive. Because I've learned with Garmore, whenever you want them to not get a defensive, they always do. Always. They never don't. So make a column that will pass it. See, like, draws can replace... Think about it like this. Let's say late game when you have like 5 left in deck and your Vanguard is Garmore. A single draw can replenish your whole field. Let's say with an Akane or a Blaster Blade could finish her off. That type of thing. Now, I can't make a guaranteed 2 hits, so we're just gonna do this. Now if I get a trigger, it's guaranteed 2 hits. And there we go. PG, nice. Yeah. Oh, that explains it. My favorite. Fuck. Alright, well, that changes everything. I need to get Garmore now. Or do I? I don't think I do, actually. If I just leave that grade 3 on the field, it should be fine. That's another good reason to run Galahad in this build is is against Imperial Daughter you just need a 10k boost, which is doable with Snowballs. Granted, one of the Snowballs has to be in the front and can be taken out, but it could be easily replaced with like an Akane or another grade 2 Garmore.
Get out of the kitchen.
I guess they just have Imperial Daughter as an emergency card. And their entire hand must be PGs. Or maybe it's a... I've seen like one, or no, 2 Tsukuyomis. Maybe it's a Imperial Daughter build with Tsukuyomi added because they didn't draw, or didn't pull a whole ton of them. That's also a possibility. PGs, nice. Should call it grade 2 so I could use Blaster Blade. Now I would take out the grade 3, but then she's just gonna do the fucking... It's not worth it. Oh. Okay. I mean, they're probably at their stack already. And they have 6 souls, so I mean... I guess. Oh, good. My favorite, Silent Tom. She runs stands? Nope. Probably not gonna heal. Maybe if I get a defensive. Hey, look at that. Hey, Silent Tom ain't shit, boy. So unless she has another Tom, she loses. Probably. Yeah, she loses if she doesn't have another Tom. Even if she does have another Tom. Yeah. If she has Tom, she wins. Alright. Well, then I win. She's already out of heals and can have a maximum of 1 PG. Gotta hit him with the corn clap. This probably will hit a PG. And she's out of heals, so it's over. It's literally over. Yep. I burned it through 4 heals and 4 PGs. Still am able to win against Tsukuyomi. Granted, it was with a scuffed setup. And I survived a Tom because of a defensive, but we take those. So that's, in essence, how Garmore works. I want to show one more. One more. This might be an actual person. Maybe. Alright, so, for mulligans, usually, with a hand like this, I'm going to throw back. I'm going to hold on to the Snowgle because I don't have another grade 1. So it's like an emergency ride, and then we'll ride Garmore. Although I should have kept... Oh, might be a farmer again. Nope. So, it's going to be a perfect riser deck. Which means when you fight... When anyone fights perfect riser, you... Like, look at... What is his hand? Like, I can make this hand work. But, Christ. When you fight perfect riser, you want to go fast. Like, very quick. And when you're playing Garmore, you want to get... You want to try to get at least 2 attacks in per turn. Like, take out intercepts and hit twice. Is usually a good rule of thumb, in my opinion. Especially against perfect riser. Now see, in this scenario, being grade locked to grade 2 is fine because I'll have a full back row of Snowballs. Another thing about Brugal is people are arguing back and forth whether it should be behind the rear or the Vanguard or the bottom left or bottom right Vanguard circle. And honestly, I prefer it in the side columns because the Counterblast in this deck should be used for Akane and Blaster Blade. And 3 Counterblast for an intercept is pretty expensive. Honestly, what I usually do, turn 1 to get that second damage, is I throw Brugal right here, and then a Snowball behind it, and becomes a 13k column. So long as the opponent doesn't get a trigger, it's able to hit a second time. But yeah, for this game, I'm going to have to go fast, because it's... perfect risers. Draw, nice. PG, good. Very good against perfect risers. Razors, risers, I'm gonna call it both throughout this video. Sure, Kaiser, huh? So yeah, as for Counterblast, the ideal way to play this is have like Brugal, Snowball. Actually, I prefer not to have any Snowballs behind the Vanguard because that's just a wasted intercept. So I usually run a Brugal, empty, Marin if need be, and then a Snowball here. And then just call a Blaster Blade, retire an intercept, and then take out the other intercept with the same Blaster Blade. Then Vanguard solo swing phase, and then a strong column that can come in for a second hit is usually how you optimally want to play it. And see, like in this instance, it's not worth riding the Palamedes because it's just an extra drive check. It's not really worth it. If I had 2 more damage, I would do it. I should have put that Garmore in front of this Brugal, but that's okay. I love getting dead heals. But that's part of the thing I love about this deck is I could be chilling on grade 2 while the opponent is like at their max or whatever, and just still being able to dumpster them. Granted, it looks like he didn't get very good draws, but Look at a defensive. Yeah. So Brugal is gone. And there's the Garmore. Take out the Brugal. There you go. So now I should only need to hit 3 times, I believe. Yeah, so we're gonna go in for the finisher because if I just have Snowgulls in the front, it's not gonna be enough power to do anything. This will hit his PG in hand, or he does not have one. And that should be game. Easy. Might have an actual fight on our hands. Finally. Let's see. Yeah, probably. Alright, so in this case, fighting Kagero. We also want to go fast as fuck. One of the things about Kagero is you want to try to get... You want to end the game as soon as possible. You either want to deny them Counterblast, which means don't attack, or just end it as soon as possible. And the way to go about doing that is just make 3 columns. Every turn. No matter what. Even use PGs if you have to. Because if you're fighting a good stuff Kagero, chances are they're going to take out most of your field in 1 turn. I want to make a PSA in this video, by the way. Stop using fucking heals and PGs in your VP farming decks. Thanks. Like, I understand ride chains. I really do. It makes sense to me. But fucking... heals and PGs? Fuck you. Take them out of the deck. There's nothing more to it. Get them out of the deck. It's annoying. Of course he gets the defensive. I need a trigger. Please. Of course not. This Kagero versus Garmore is a horrible matchup considering they just wiped the board in 1 turn. Just 1 turn, it's a board wipe. And then if you get enough draws, watch, he's gonna Berserk Dragon Brugal. Or a Snowgull. Then he's gonna call like 2 Tages or something. Although a second one wouldn't do anything. Or not. He's gonna play the slow game. But you see what I mean? In this instance, it's not even worth riding Gancelot. It's really not. Because you gain 1k power, an extra drive check, and then these 2 units will lose 2 or 1k each. Now I would Blaster Blade to take this out and then attack face, but then this one wouldn't hit. So we'll just throw down Blaster Blade, not use his effect. And hit. Now if he gets defensive, of course he does. A surprise. Now I need one. And of course I don't get one. Nice. I was gonna go for Vortex, huh? I don't know if he'll be able to do... He'd have to get a heal. Or a Belcosity. I haven't shown it in this video and probably won't be, but another strategy with this deck is if you draw into a Blaster Blade and an Alfred early, sometimes it's better to ride Blaster Blade instead of the Grade 2 Garmore, because then you just ride early on top, throw Blaster Blade over here, and then you get a free retire. You get a free Blaster Blade on the field, free intercept, and wipe out a intercept. So it's pretty nice. Obviously, it's not as ideal as riding Garmore, the Grade 3. But if you ride Blaster Blade then early, and then the Grade 3, that also works. So this is what the Counterblast is used in this deck. Should probably never... Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll take the extra twin drive. I'll take the extra drive. So Blaster Blade can pop, then do that. And then... If he gets a defensive, which I'm sure he will, I'll need a trigger, which I'm sure I will get. Ooh, look at that. Now, that's one of the reasons I like not putting Brugal behind the Vanguard is that way you attack with the Vanguard first and then the 2 rear guards, because more often than not you're going to be more damage when you attack on your turn than your opponent. So attacking with the Vanguard first means that if you get a heal, it'll actually go off. And not just be a dead heal. Now he's probably going to call an Overlord. He's debating it. He's like, should I? Is it worth it? There it is. Now that's another thing. Don't be scared to be calling your PGs. If it needs a boost, which in this case, it does, then yeah, call a booster. Call a, wait, that didn't make sense, because then this is 22k, and this is 18k. This will hit. If I get offensive, this won't hit unless you get a trigger. Now you need a trigger. And even if you do, this one won't hit. You just threw a PG to the bottom, so he has a maximum of 2 PGs in deck, or hand, I mean. Probably should have rode Palamedes there. Well, guess he didn't have the 2 PGs in his hand. And that should be pretty good, if I say so myself. So, Garmore is a very good deck. All of the games I've played, I've won. Most of these fucking wins are VP farmers. God, it took so long to get a actual fight. But the deck is good. It can compete against the high tier decks, Tsukuyomi, Razors. I know I didn't fight them. Well, I fought Scuffed Razors and Scuffed Tsukuyomi, but that's the strategy and my deck profile for Garmore. Obviously, would use 4 more Garmore if I could, but thanks for watching. I will probably be grinding MLB season, which is next season. I'm definitely not grinding this season because CEO is not worth it, and I am burnt from Dragonic Overlord. Be sure to like, subscribe, YouTube stuff. Bye-bye.